All right, welcome back to MGD 111. Working with layers today is what we're going to be doing. So let's take a look at our picture of the sled here. We've looked at this photo before. What we're going to do is add a few elements to this picture and try to make it look realistic. So we're going to add our snowman pal here. And we're also going to try to add some additional sledders. And we're going to use various techniques to blend these things in. First of all, though, let's add some type to this picture just for fun. Just as a reminder, if we click on the type tool and just start typing, my big snow day, make sure I spell that right, and I'm going to make that really big. Let's change the type size to 60 point, there we go. And we're going to slide that around. And just as a reminder, we need our layer palette handy. If you don't have the layer palette out, you should have that at all times, even if you're not working with layers. Now the cool thing about type is when you add type, it creates a layer, but it also names it according to what that type says. So that's kind of cool. Now let's add another element to this picture. We're going to add the snowman, and I've already done a nice tight outline on the snowman. If you want to follow along, open up this image and outline it yourself. You can pause it. I'm not going to wait for you. And so we're going to copy. And let's go back to our other image here, sled, and let's paste. And now it's enormous, and it's in the wrong place here, and it's blocking a bunch of stuff. That's okay. We have several things that we can do here. Now let's take a look at our layer palette. We have the background, and thank goodness for these thumbnails. We can see the thumbnail looks like the main picture here. And then the next layer is my big snow day, that's text. And the next layer, if you look really closely, it's this checkerboard, which means transparent background, and the snowman called layer 1. Now, the cool thing about layers is we can modify in several ways a single layer without doing anything to the other layers. And the other important thing is it doesn't affect the pixels that are behind it. If I had merged this snowman in with the rest of the picture and tried to do something with it, it would cause the pixels behind it to disappear and fill in with the background color. So let's go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and we're going to scale the snowman down. We're going to put the snowman on the sled behind the girl here. Now the cool thing about the Transform tool is if I don't apply the transformation, I can move the character around here. And let's scale it down just a bit more. That looks like about the size that we want here. Now you can see it's kind of in front of the girl and in front of the sled. That's not exactly what we want. That's okay. There are ways that we can blend all of this in together. So let's take a good look at it here. Let's zoom in. Now we could try to take a guess and erase part of this layer, but there's actually some really cool things that we can do. Let's take a look first at our erase tool. First of all, we need to apply the transformation. We're going to take the erase tool, and we have a 13 pixel hard tool here. Now we can try to guess where the sled is, and if we just erase a little bit at a time, we might be able to get it just right. And notice, by the way, when I erase, I'm on layer 1 here. When I erase, it only erases what's on this layer. It doesn't erase anything behind it or on other layers. That's a very important concept. So as long as this layer is in front of something else, we can erase from it. Now, that might be kind of a tricky thing here. Let's see. That looks pretty... Oh, shoot, I messed it up. Okay, undo. Now, there's a better way to do this, actually. Let's move back a couple of steps before we erased it. In our layer palette, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of different settings here, but most importantly, the one I want you to see is the one that says opacity. Opacity, of course, means can we see through it or not. If something is opaque 100%, we can't see through it. But watch what happens. I've got layer 1 selected. If I go to opacity, and I turn that opacity down, the snowman becomes transparent. Ooh, spooky, huh? It's a ghost snowman. But the cool thing is, we can actually see behind the snowman very precisely. Use the erase tool to very precisely erase what's on that layer, or we could use our lasso tool to outline the snowman and remove those elements. But the cool thing is we're able to very accurately erase the parts that we don't like. Now, we have to be sort of careful to make sure that let me zoom back out here, make sure that we don't leave part of the snowman here that we don't want. So let's change our opacity back to 100%. And you'll see that we missed a few bits here. That's okay. We got the main part here right by the sled. So let's go in and let's just get rid of the rest of the stuff here. So that's an important tool for being able to erase elements and make it look like something's behind something else. If you take another close look here at the top of the snowman, you can see we have some weird shadows and things. Again, the erase tool here, we can just kind of go in and melt a little bit off the edge of the snowman. And that's kind of the beauty of layers, is we have this capability of affecting just the layers that we want to, and not the other elements. Now, let's save this and pause, and we will come back to this image and learn some more.